let's get into it. So last night I played my third round match of the Tuesday March Boylston Swiss. I originally was going to play Noah Solomon, which would have been cool because he played the white pieces on Saturday in the fourth round in a pretty wild game where he was winning in like the mid game. He was playing better. He blundered. I was totally winning. I went for some romantic checkmates, some queen sacrifices. It was very beautiful, and then I blundered my queen, which was stupid. And then we battled for like a 200 move game after having been at the chess club for like 11 hours, inevitably into a draw. So it would have been nice to play him as the white pieces, which is what I was originally slated to play. Instead, for the fifth time, I have white against Jamie Fallon. I saw that and I kind of like chuckled because every time we play, I've gotten the white pieces. This game is remarkable for the meta aspect that I'm going to get to when it occurs. The actual moves are not super. Actually, some of the situations were kind of interesting. So, but I would say this was not a particularly well played game. I did give a preamble last night. I mean, we got home kind of late because, funny enough, after the game, it was St. Patrick's Day or whatnot. Justin, Jamie, and then Liz, my fiance, met us. We went to El Jefe's, and then we actually went and got a drink at the Seven. So, a little bit of a note. I tried inviting people from Boylston, but if any of you do watch this and want to join us, I'm sure we'll do it again on a different Tuesday. It was really nice. However, I'm slightly under the weather. Not like sick, but I had been taking Dayquil yesterday because my throat was really hurting me. Today, for example, I'm a little congested. I started filming yesterday, but unfortunately I mangled the game recap. So when I looked at it, half of it was literally me re-inputting moves. So I thought it would just be easier for me to just film it here. It would probably be a shorter video, and that way I'd have the moves. And the more important stuff is the stuff that happened outside the game anyway. So Jamie and I have played a bunch, and what's interesting is Jamie, the last time we played, I did play the Jobava. I suggested a line that he play in the future, and he spent like 10 minutes on move 3 remembering it, and then he played it, and I think he actually got a quality by using my own words against me. So it's kind of funny, a post-cap, I forget when we did play last, 2 months ago or whatever, he then stuffed it back to me. But it was well played, like that sort of thing. So let's just get into the action. Again, I'm doing the newfangled thing where I blend the analysis of the computer engine with my own moves. This is the Jobava. There's like 6 good moves on move 3. Jamie, again, spent 10 minutes. I was moving pretty quick this game. This is what a lot of the super GMs recommend. It shuts down the initial idea of the Jobava, which is the knight b5, which is menacing. And it's just generally pretty good. It also helps you build an attack against like a queenside castle and whatnot. I know, like moves like that, the waiting moves, they look like inert, but actually in this position, it's really strong. It doesn't matter. I go into like the typical setup. This move is fine. It's one of the main moves. Bishop f5. In response, I want to throttle the pawns forward, so I do that. Jamie laughs here, or I think soon, because we end up playing very symmetrical moves. So he said, he had the board, he said copycat. I didn't hear him right. I was like, what? He's like, copycat. I was like, what? I'm sure the people on the right and the left were like, what are these idiots talking about? But then I heard him, and I was like, oh yeah. I said, hey, it's a good move. So anyway, I go on. This is to win tempo and to take space. It's how I can get an advantage. And this was my first think, and I don't think I was super sharp. I haven't been playing great, to be completely honest. There's the spring tournament this weekend. I really hope I snap into form, because there's really nice prizes for that. Because at the board, I didn't think that this idea of h4 worked, because, as you guys can see, I thought that Jamie was threatening knight b4. He is trying to pull the reverse Uno card on me. However, I needed to spend more time on this, because it actually does. Because if I play h5, there's no squares for the bishop. Obviously, he can then take. It's defended. But once I move my queen, this bishop is trapped. Can't go here, can't go here. And because of that, as soon as I dislodge the knight, so, let's say I move here, if he doesn't do anything immediate, I'll win that piece. In fact, we'll turn on the engine. And I didn't calculate it out this deeply, this far, but white is simply winning. It's basically, Jamie would be dropping a piece here. Like, let's say his best move, e5, for example. And then after takes, it doesn't really leave you anywhere anyway. So let's just say he ignores, for example, e6, which is a typical move for black. Now I can just, again, pop him back with a3, dislodging the defender, and then, boom, I'd be winning the piece. Some of you might be saying, wait, but what if you take first with the knight? And the reason this doesn't work is, it looks really scary, check. but you actually have this move of king to d2. And I thought this is bad, but the truth is, when he takes here, again, now the knight is trapped. I can take the bishop. He can't even take with the h-pawn because that's pinned, so I'd further damage his pawn structure, and then I pick up another minor piece. And as you can imagine, this is just completely winning for white. Completely, yeah, +2, +2.5. Also, I don't know if you guys can hear it. My voice, again, today I'm congested. Honestly, on a health level, I feel pretty good, but it's never fun to be like a little bit under the weather. And I am a little bit under the weather. In fact, maybe a little bit later, I'll take some Dayquil. So I didn't see it out that far, which was my own mistake. And so I thought that maybe this was a scary move. And the idea in these positions, h4 is the best move. I play a6, a3, which is, it's a waiting move. It's not like it's not like it's a bad move. It's just it gives Jamie a turn to basically rescue his position. Now this is a very typical move, reinforcing the structure. I now launch forward with h4. There's two moves here, either h4, h5. Otherwise, this piece is trapped. I think actually according to the computer, h5 is slightly more accurate, but it's actually the one I prefer facing against because I know the theory a little bit deeper. To be completely honest, whoops, what happened here? So I go with the typical plan. Now, if you look at my position, not all my minor pieces are in the game. I played bishop d3, thinking that this is forced, and then I could just basically develop my queen with tempo to recapture, and that lets me just queenside castle naturally. And the reason why it seems natural is because I'm threatening to take, and then after f takes, there's a gaping hole, and black really can't kingside castle. Some of you guys that you watch this regularly may recognize this very similarly to what happened in this weekend tournament, where I got like a very similar position, where again I was able to play e4 and open up against the king that was not able to castle. King in the castle! My Bora impression maybe needs a little bit of work. All right. In any event, Jamie plays bishop d6, and I went to a mini calc, which is I wondered if I could take this, and I realized that bishop takes on g6 is good for me. He doesn't have time to take this to scuff up my pawns, because then I can desperado go bishop takes with check, he takes, and then I take back, and in those lines I'm up a pawn. So I figured I could always start with bishop takes on g6. Jamie recaptured, and I know immediately this position is good for me. And I then think, do I have to play my knight out to support the bishop right away? Do I have to trade, or can I throw in queen d3? And again, I realize if I go queen d3 and he starts with takes, I can go queen takes g6 and then recapture. And again, I'm up a pawn with black having a completely compromised pawn structure, no king safety, and losing the ability to castle. White would just be winning, actually. So I did that, and that is the best move in the position. I feel pretty good about it. And by the way, very similarly to I think the game against David Elkin, getting my knight out here onto f4 is massive, because with these two very weak pawns, it's able to hit everything. In any event, Jamie plays what I think is a good move. It's a backwards knight move, defending this pawn. These pieces are still in tension, and now I develop my knight. I think it's either one, h3 or e2 is good. From either square, I can defend my my dark square bishop. He's not really threatening to trade because I want my knight there anyway. Jamie pushes b6, and at first I thought this was a very strange move, because it is. It's not a good move, but the threat is basically c5. And this is where I make a mistake. I played the second best move in the position, and for the record, white is a lot better here. Like, a lot better out of the opening. I know this because, again, I went through this and I looked at the stuff. Over the board, I didn't think I was much better. I didn't know. But the key move, and again, I queenside castle, so white is still, +1, +1.2. It's good for me. But I need to just break the center and play e4. The reason why e4 is so good is I want him to take. I'm defending with the knight. I take back, and I'm hitting everything. So that's great. So if I play e4, what's the threat here? Oh, it's to play e5, forking the minor pieces, driving a wedge. More or less, this forces a trade. And then if I'm able to swing this knight into the game from c3, I'm hitting everything. Again, from there, with this pawn, it looks maybe like it's undefended. Not really. Then when I queenside castle, I come with force, with tempo. I line up on the queen, and honestly, black's position falls apart. I played it a little bit too safe and slow, to be honest. I took my foot off the gas. I queenside castled first. And this is what I did against David Elkin, too. It was an inaccuracy that I thought I wanted to line up my rook like that. So this is a lesson for me. I really need to play e4 when I can. Jamie strikes with c5, and I thought this was like the first critical position of the game for me. and I heavily calculated. And unfortunately, I calculated wrong. I thought if I take here, he can just take with the bishop, and I thought Jamie's position was fine. The answer is it's not. Black, actually, if this position is reached, is in a lot of trouble, okay? Plus almost 2, plus 1.8. Practically, maybe not winning, but incredibly good. Especially because I had this idea of g5. I'll play that later, is obviously looming. I split everything open. Jamie's not castled. I have all the play, and it just looks Gucci. Instead, I misevaluated that position not that great. I thought I needed to trade first. He plays the queen, and then I calculated pawn takes. Because if it's not clear in this position, Jamie is threatening c4, okay? Kind of puts my queen in a box. It gives him a strong center. And, yeah, it basically locks everything up where black is relatively snug. So for candidate moves, I looked at pawn takes, which I immediately, perhaps too quickly, discounted, thinking he could dodge out of the way. I looked at bishop takes, and I should have still been thinking about e4. e4 is the best move in the position, and again, because if he bumps me now with c4, I can just scoot over. And this position, again, is looking great because I'm going to break. Yeah, it's +2. I'm going to break. If he doesn't trade, I can trade. I can still play this knight f4, which is what I want to hit these pawns. And again, without Jamie having castled, all the pieces in the middle, my pieces are harmonic. I have space. I've got pressure. These rooks are completely out of the game. I didn't do that, though. So I missed my moment. I missed my chance. I traded the bishops. He takes back. Already a mistake. And in my mind... No, it's in my head. That's what I'm thinking. In my head... in my head, I already played this move first. And then I played this move, but over the board, I reached and grabbed the knight, and I played knight f4. Now, the reason I calculated is I thought that if I go pawn takes pawn, he goes pawn takes pawn, and then I play knight f4, this move doesn't work. I calculated this at the board because I have this tactic of queen takes c4, because after pawn takes, boom, rook takes, and I'm completely winning, as you can tell. Yeah, +3, +3.4. This pawn is weak. I have all the activity. Honestly, Jamie is going to get checkmated. So I calculated this, but my hand reached instead for the knight, and I moved knight f4. And as soon as this happened, Jamie immediately played c4, locking up the structure. I realized I super fucked up. Now, what's funny, I'm going to turn on the engine again so you guys can tell. Over the board, I thought I lost my chance. Now I don't have the queen takes because he just takes back with a pawn, and my stupid d-pawn is in the way, so I'm not actually threatening his queen. I thought that I was worse in this position because it looks like Jamie's pawns are going to roll on me and I'm in trouble. The computer, again, this is like a spot where I wish, again, if, you had the computer inside your head, if somebody just told me, like, don't worry, Rob, you're still like +0.5, like you have a good position, I would have not been so, upset. But I genuinely thought, like, I dwelled on this. I was like, oh, I just threw away the game. Oh, there you go, Rob, super winning, and you just fucked it up. And the truth is, I did fuck it up. But it's still pretty good. I needed to rebound a little bit faster. I played queen e2. I think that move is fine. My idea really was to reroute my pieces and try to josh on forward. At some point, I wanted to play the e4 break. But the other thing that you guys should notice about the position, the queen is eyeing the knight with check, and now it's only protected by the pawn. Now I can't play e4. The computers wanted me to play it for the last few moves. I missed my moment. Now I can't play it. Jamie shuffles forward with b5. He is coming in fast. This b6 move was not good initially, but he's made it work for him. He's kind of justified it. These are dangerous pawns. My king is kind of under fire, and my attack is now kind of dead. But I calculated what I thought might be winning, which is g5, and if takes, I'm hitting the knight. I force rook takes rook. Rooks take rooks. He has to move the knight. I thought he had to play somewhere stupid, like knight g8, because then it's defended. If not, I'm going to check him, and I'm going to pick up this rook. And then I could just drop it onto h7, and I have all the play, because I can undermine the pawn. Just so you guys can see what I mean, because for the record, I do play g5. He plays the best move. The only move, really, in the position. Because I saw this. These are under fire. Takes. And he doesn't do a move like this, if he does something else like that. I guess if I check him, he can still move this here, but the threat is obviously picking up the rook. I guess if he moves the queen there, it defends it, so maybe this isn't, like, super winning for me. but I'm kind of curious. No, it's a +2 position. Plus 2.2. Yeah, and the reason why is even if once he blocks with the knight, for example, I can obviously stay level. But worst case scenario, I would just go rook to h7, trying to gun on down to South Park. Computer even likes moves like queen h2 to further infiltrate, which makes a ton of sense, obviously. Anyway, so that's what I calculated. So I got excited, thinking, okay, I'm gonna swing my attack from the center of the board to the king side, just kind of swinging my pieces, opening it up. But then Jamie plays knight h5. It's a very good move, and I spent a second critical moment of the game, a good amount of time. I moved too quickly in largely like this entire game. I really wasn't like buckled down thinking amazingly, but I did use some time because I really wanted to try to make like different trades work. The problem is Jamie's threatening this knight g3 fork, and I thought that there'd be clever lines of like dislodging the pawn here, again attacking the rook. It never works because he can literally just swing the knight and just fork me. And I was kept looking at like f4 ideas, and then I would be opening up, and this is with check if that pawn is removed. All these zany things, and none of them seemed to work. So I just resigned myself to just go knight takes knight. And it's a bummer because I really, really wanted him to go pawn takes pawn, because I think white has a very good position with that. But unfortunately, I believe Jamie played the best move. Sometimes your opponents play the best move. So I take, he takes, and I do another long think here. And this is where Jamie said after the game, he said he thought this was a really bad move. Now that I know, having looked at it on the computer, I know it's a really bad move. But I was genuinely torn about what to do in this position. I didn't know. I played g6. It's just a really bad move. Computer, for example, just wants me to take. It's obviously a candidate move. I was even considering just queen h2 just to get queens off the board. I'm actually going to turn on the engine real quick because I am kind of curious what the computer does want me to do. They want me to go, they want me to just develop one of my rooks to the active square so that if he opens up, I open up. Now, the reason I played my move, which again, as you guys can tell, white is a little bit better here. He played well to resolve the h-pawn tension. It's like plus 0.5, something like that. So white has a small edge. But as soon as I push my pawn g6, I throw it away. It's now -1, -1.2, -1.3 possibly. And this was all based around a miscalculation. I thought he would take. He doesn't have to take. For the record, he played the best move. He plays knight f5, and he's threatening this fork once again. But I thought if he takes, then I can play this rook, so I'm preventing him from winning this pawn, and I'm getting all the activity. And if he has to play something like, the king over, boom, I hit him with this, all my pieces loaded on up, and I think black is just completely lost. Yeah, plus 4.5. And so I saw this position, not that he would necessarily move his king up, but the point is, and let's say he moves down, now I infiltrate, I've now gotten the 7th, the piggy on a blanket, I'm going to have all the fun here. He doesn't have this check, my pawn is still doing a great job. I have ideas of getting, again, my pieces in this away. He still hasn't castled. These pawns are terrible, held up by this pawn. So it was all based around a miscalculation of g6, thinking that he has to take, and it was, in my mind, it was a pawn sacrifice. But he just plays the cold move, knight f5, which is a good move. And I'm just much worse. So I do my 4th think of the game, and obviously the threat is a pretty serious threat. This is a big fork. And at first I was like, oh shit, I've got to move this rook. But if I move this rook, he just wins the pawn. This is now pass pawn. I've got real trouble. And then I said, well, maybe I've got to move my queen so that if he forks this way, I can move my queen. But then I said, okay, I've got to tie it down to e3. So I was like, damn, do I have to play queen f2? I was like, maybe I have to play queen f2. And then I said, wait. I said, maybe I allow him to play this fork. I play a move, that move to be named later, because I thought to myself, I might have queen h2 pinning his knight to his queen. It's not defended. I would then be able to play rook hg1 or dg1, put another attacker, and I thought that maybe in that spot, the knight would be pinned and lost, and I'd just be winning again. So I got really excited thinking that I could allow this fork. The computer laughs at that, by the way, because if I do that, again, let's just make a random move. Let's make a random move. This was not a random move. I played king b1. I'll explain why in a moment. But let's say he goes for this line. I then attack it. The computer sees this move, rook f8. Otherwise, black actually is in a lot of trouble because I will be winning this piece. But unfortunately, now when I go, move it out of the pin and I attack it, black can actually just win a pawn and put another defender on the knight. And in this position, black is, I think, significantly better. Or not significantly better, but black is better. But only by a little bit, but it's still a game. His knight is a little bit off sides. Maybe he can, jump it, open up. But the point is, it's not winning for me. But that's, but I didn't realize that. I thought it was just winning for me. I thought he'd drop a piece. So when I played King B1, which I did, Jamie reached for his knight, then he held back. He's like, whoa, and he was like, tricky, because I think it is a tricky move. This Queen H2, which was kind of like the devious trap I'd set. Why did I go King B1? Because I was looking for a move that improved my position that still induced this fork. And I saw that if his knight is here, he can jump, and when my king is still on C1, it's in check. And if I dislodge the pawn, like E4, which is what I want, when he swings Queen F4, I'm also in check. So I thought this was a prophylactic move to dodge any of the shenanigans, what his knight and his queen could do for me. Still, again, setting up this devious trap. He doesn't fall for it. Again, based on the computer, if he found this follow-up, it's not falling for it, it's just black is better. And instead, he just is like, fuck it, I'm just going to attack him. And he just rattles in b4. I move my king over, I'm now in direct line, and all of a sudden, I'm in, a lot of trouble. I have to take. He takes to the queen, and if it's not clear to everyone watching, Jamie is immediately threatening rook b8, forming a battery and trying to mate me. There's basically two candidate moves I have. I chose worse, apparently. Knight a2, hitting the queen. Let's say he plays back with the idea of c3, locking this up and letting my queen also defend the b-pawn. So, for example, he does this. Yes, he's got some pressure. But finally, I can blast open e4, and I can unlock onto his queen. This would have been better, for the record. I don't know why I didn't do this. Instead, I thought I saw... Oh, I didn't do this because in these positions, if I play c3, this loses because he can now fork me, and I lose the exchange. So I thought that I should play... I thought I should play a move that stops the fork while still defending this square. And the way I saw it, and I thought this was clever, was what I played, which is rook d g1. The computer doesn't like it. I'm preventing him from forking me. I thought maybe in some lines I'd get some activity. I'm wrong. But also it opens up the d1 square so that my knight can be my defender on the b2 pawn. So that was my idea. He loads up. I go into it pretty quickly. And I thought to myself, all right, everything is locked up. I'm ready to play e4. If I can split him open while he's still in the middle of the board, I have counterplay. I'm not worried against me being mated. I figured if he plays c3, I would just play b3. I'd lock it up. My knight is defending against this checkmating square on b2. So I thought I was good. Jamie thought for a long time. This was his longest think of the game. And he plays what I thought was an insane move. In my opinion, Jamie should just castle here. He then gets his last piece into the attack. And I have real practical troubles. I probably would play c3. He'd drop back his queen. I would look for the e4 break. And it's a game where he's got some weaknesses. This pawn is actually potentially a strength for me, but it's reasonable. Instead, Jamie plays king d7, which is insane because his king is in the middle of the board where queens and rooks are still on the board. This is unnecessarily dangerous. And actually, if you look at the computer at this point, it looks like I'm getting attacked. I'm in trouble. It's pretty equal. He basically threw away, if he played, for example, c3, the computer wants him to just kind of attack me that way. Again, c3 and then b3. Excuse me, they want me to play c3. What do they want him to do here? I thought castles was his best move. Yeah, castles or... Yeah, castles is best move. Queen d6 is reasonable too. c3, again, is reasonable. c3, and I was going to play b3. I don't know if that's losing or whatnot. But black obviously has an advantage, but they're not winning here. Instead, he kind of throws it away. He gives me sufficient counterplay, and as soon as this happens, I was like... I pounded the table. I said, hallelujah, because I hit him with the c3. This is a tempo. This now lets my pieces on my second row defend the mate square. And it forces him to move his queen. He plays the tricky move. Apparently, it's not a good one. But obviously I can't take because it's pinned. And this finally lets me play e4. What's funny is I played e4 finally, but I'm 10 moves shy of it. Obviously, this needed to hit the board way, way long ago. but it's still pretty effective. The thinking is if he takes, wow, then I'm opening up and I'm like feeling fantastic if he takes. And the reason why, as you guys can tell, is after F takes, I'm getting all the tempi on the knight. I'm going to be able to blast forward. I'm going to be able to swing on in, open up on the open F file, so my rooks will finally be in the game. And honestly, I think I'm better. Yeah, in fact, the computer says after F takes, I'm like plus 1.7. Jamie, though, doesn't do that. He plays the best move, knight e7, and I play a mistake here. The computer wants me to prepare e takes. I am over-eager to snap on through, and the reason why is this, again, is based on miscalculation, is I thought in this position I might be able to play queen takes c4, thinking I'm defending the c-pawn with my queen and my knight. If he brings it in, I thought I could play here and trade off the queens, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even if he wins this pawn, because takes, I still have this pin. I thought with the compromised pawn structure over here, and with queens off the board, with finally opening up, that this endgame would be fine for me, if not better. Unfortunately, when we got to this position, I then realized that doesn't work. Why does it not work? Well, hopefully you guys can see. Going from here, playing here, and it's because I thought that he actually has this devastating move, rook takes. And I realized this when I was in there. Not knight takes, which just wins a pawn, but rook takes wins the queen. Because if I then take with the knight, now he takes, knight takes, and look at that, I lose my queen. Game's over. Game's over. So that's why when we arrived in this position, I realized I cannot take this pawn. I did see that. I thought I needed to play for counterplay. So the only way to do that, once I ruled out I can't take the pawn, is rook ge1. I'm now threatening to take this. And I thought that if he lets me take this pawn would be a huge service. I probably would have some kind of mating web. If not, I would just pick up all the pieces. He can't let that happen. And Jamie plays rook b6, which shocks me. I thought that the obvious move was rook he8, defending here, and he still has all the leverage. He still has these threats. I'm still in a lot of trouble. But he plays them. The reason why, and we kind of chatted about this even during the game, Jamie and I at this point, normally you don't talk to your opponent, but Jamie and I have, hopefully not to the detriment of players around us, but he was like, I didn't see that. And I, which is reasonable. And I think it's hard because the reason that he didn't see what I was about to play is I got to this position, and what's funny is the computer says I have one move that is quite good. And I even looked at it, but it just looked way too complicated. And then the move I played, which is second best, but black has has a decent advantage. And every other move in this position is totally lost for white. So if you want to pause and you want to try to use this to find the best move for white, by all means try. It's really, really hard. Okay, well, hopefully you're not paused anymore. The best move in this position, according to the computer, is queen e5, which I even looked at this. I'm hitting this pawn. I'm putting pressure if he moves this at all. And the idea, and it looks scary as fuck, and I ruled this out because after knight takes c3, I can't go knight takes c3 because then I get checkmated. So I needed to stay here. But according to the computer, you can play these computer moves, king c2, and you're totally fine. I thought I was getting sauced out of my fucking mind here, but according to the computer, it's fine. King d2, you can run, you have all the counterplay, all the pressure. But I saw this position after, if I play queen e5, again, threatening all this stuff, kind of infiltrating or whatever, that after knight takes, I knew I couldn't take here, and I thought if I'm running, then I'm just getting, fucking wrecked. I just thought that I was going to get checkmated. If I was a computer, I would have played this, but I'm not. I played the second best move, which is a clever move. Jamie thought that the checkmate attack was too strong, and the reason why is the whole time when he moved his queen, which is a clever move to a3, I knew if I ever dislodged the pin, I could pick up the queen. Here I'm doing with check, so he's forced to take, and in this position, I then go pawn takes. And when we arrived at this position, I thought to myself, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. okay, like I guess he wins a pawn back, but like I can't be any worse here, right? Wrong. He's got open lines and activity. I don't. I am a little bit worse in this endgame. But given how strongly I was getting attacked, I was fine with this. I played what I thought was a great move, but the computer says that the move I played basically went from the game is fine to the game is most certainly not fine. So as I turn on the computer, there's a couple moves that are all pretty good. The main idea is the computer wants to trade off one of these rooks. This is too active. These are passive. I'm also threatening the pawn if he doesn't, for whatever reason. So basically, I can put a rook on g1, we trade, and it's zeros. I can hold it. But that's not good enough for me. I thought I could infiltrate, I could hit the knight with check, I could hit this pawn, start chipping away, and I thought I was golden. However, this move loses. And the reason why it loses is Jamie comes in with a check. I actually should have gone to a1. I didn't go to a1, king a1, because I thought that my king was forever cut off, and I thought in an endgame, with his active king against my passive king, I was just lost. Apparently, I can maybe survive with king a1, but the problem with king c1 is now I'm giving him all of these forking ideas. And I didn't see that when I moved over, but I saw it as soon as after I played the move, which happens a lot. Like, you play a move, you think it's good, and then you immediately see, oh, it's a shit move. Because of what Jamie played, which he banged out pretty fast. He plays knight f4. Excuse me. Yeah, as you guys can tell, white is already significantly worse here. I need to now play rook e4 to maybe still have a chance. This is coming, but I don't do that. I played knight b2, and my thinking was that this is stopping this, because then take, and I can hold. The problem is, as soon as I played it, I realized, number one, minimum, he has rook takes, knight, king takes, knight check. After I move back in, he wins my rook. I go pawn takes, and then he's immediately going to gang up on it. He's going to win that pawn, and his king is more active. It's probably a pretty simple endgame. But he played something even better, and that's rook g2. For whatever reason, I didn't see this, but now he's attacking this twice. I have no way of defending this, this knight. It's just lost. So I try to like bail out, thinking that if he takes my knight, I can take his knight. But then as soon as I do that, I realize, oh shit, now I'm also losing my rook. Jamie is down to like 20 minutes, which is still plenty of time. I have more than 30. And frankly, I could have resigned. I didn't, because Jamie has resigned against me. And what's funny is in all our games, I've been sloppy and he's gotten chances. I thought maybe I'd get chances against him, now that the shoe was on the other foot. He goes about business. He takes the rook pretty good. I try for some activity, you know, thinking that maybe I can start winning some pawns. Why not? I'm going to shuffle these moves pretty quickly because they seem pretty clear-cut. I snap his pawn. He attacks both pawns. I now give him a check, just, you know, seeing what happens. I then move the a pawn, so he can't just simply win it. I thought that maybe in this position, these connected pawns, if I found a way to push them, that maybe I could, like, I don't know, make some magic happen. It's possible. I'm obviously lost here. I move over, so now I'm trying to defend this c-pawn. I'm also freeing up my rook to like make magic happen. I also have one move threats to then start pushing my own pawn. And he just says, fuck it. Believe it or not, Jamie spent 10 minutes in this position, from 22 minutes to 11 or so in my book. Or maybe not here. I attack the rook, he plays here, and then I check him, I take the pawn, and he pushes. Yeah, and somewhere around here he spent like 12 minutes. And it looks like this is unstoppable. Like, I can win another pawn, I can get behind, but, like, I'm not really going to be able to push these pawns. Like, hey, if he didn't have one of these rooks, I'd be winning. But, oh, speaking of that, and this is where we get to the meta perspective, the meta position. 33 minutes in, what really made the game interesting. I'm moving really fast, because I know this is lost. I've won a bunch of pawns, but best case scenario, we take these pawns off the board. I probably have to sacrifice my rook to do it. Best case scenario, I get this pawn, and I get my rook, like, shutting his king off behind the pawn. It's just lost. Maybe I can push my pawn a few squares. Maybe I can move my king up. But the truth is, I should lose this 100% of the time. While we were playing, Jamie looked at this position. I checked him. He picked up his rook. Like, he literally picked it up and was like, oh, shit. And then I said, I'm sorry, like, that's touch move. The rule is if you can move your piece, you gotta move there. And Jamie was like, oh, man. I was like, we can call the arbiter. So we paused this clock. Steven came over. We explained the situation. Like, I know the rules pretty well, and this has happened against me as well. And the rule is, if you touch move, if you take it, you have to make a legal move. I didn't take the 2 minutes. I didn't need it. I actually think I had 26 minutes at this point, which meant Jamie is forced to play rook b7, which is brutal. He was totally winning, and now he's totally lost. The reason he's totally lost, as you can see, is I take this, check, moves over, and now I'm cutting off. If he ever moves away from the h-file, I win this pawn. His king is cut off, and I can literally just push my pawn. Whenever he goes over to win that pawn, I win both of these pawns, this one with check as well. And with 3 pawns in the middle of the board, I'm going to convert that even against Stockfish. However, you guys can see draw. When we get to this position, it's clearly very winning, a5, he can move over. Jamie looks at me and he says, do you want to draw? And this is where it's a really weird situation where, Jamie, we're friendly. I mean, he's my friend, absolutely. And I've said, I do care a lot about winning and losing, a lot. But I also, but it's not necessarily the number one. It's definitely the number 2 focus, I would say. But it's a really weird spot because, basically, I'm a real big golden rule kind of guy. And I thought to myself, if the shoe was on the other foot, would Jamie give me a draw? I think so. I think he's a nice guy. And I thought to myself, all right, he totally blundered. But I was also moving fast. I was making him prove the end game. That's kind of, a part of finishing chess games, right? Showing the technique. But I said, fuck it. I was totally lost. He made a mistake like that. It does happen. We can both be happy about a draw. So I accepted it. I thought it was the nice thing to do. Afterward, and Jamie and I were both cool with it, I think, for sure. But it's a weird spot. Is Jamie was saying, he said, well, he said, I never would have called touch move on you. And and it's what's funny, and this is where again the meta aspect is literally a few months ago, Jamie was playing a kid where at the beginning of the game, Jamie was touching his pieces. I don't know why, but I think he put touch his G pawn, and the kid was oh, touch move, you have to play the G pawn. So Jamie was forced to open or maybe his F pawn. He was forced to play G3 or F3 or something on move 1. Totally, obviously he doesn't know the theory, he doesn't want to make that move, and it's move 1. And we had a laugh because I remember saying at that point, I was yeah, if it's move 1, my opponent can touch all the pieces they want, they can adjust it, it's move 1. But I said, but by move 20, if somebody touches their piece, I'm going to fucking call them on it. It's touch move, absolutely. And it was funny because this was the exact situation. We were well into the game. It wasn't it was blitz. I mean, Jamie did have 6 minutes, so I called him on it. It's the right rule, But he was saying, yeah, he would never. He was oh, if we got to that position, I never would have called touch move on you, but I also wouldn't have offered the draw or something like that, or I wouldn't have accepted the draw. I don't know, something like that. Overall, though, the draw is a reasonable result. I obviously didn't play great. Jamie was kicking my ass this game. We've now battled 5 times, which is a lot. Definitely my most common opponent in Classical. Justin's my most common opponent, including the Rapid and Blitz games. But there you go. So we ended with a draw. The truth is, this March tournament is going quite poorly for me. I'll just show the standings really quickly before I peace out from this video. Let's find out the standings. Yeah, I have 1 point, 2 draws and a loss. According to this, I'm down 50 rating points. Pretty brutal, to be honest. I lost a few rating points in the tournament from going 2 wins, 2 draws as well. It's tough. I mean, I'm playing against people who are generally a bit lower rated than me. Camille lost, unfortunately, against Matthew Wesley. Who did I play round 1? Drew, Barber. The Barbs, he got a bye last round. So, it is what it is. Next round, I am, again, all this stuff is subject to change, but I'm supposed to play John Elsey, who I believe won the bottom section. He's played here for a long time, and I've never had that chance to play him. So that's great. It's another guy that is, again, 400 points lower rated than me. I really need to win. I won't, again, I'll feel terrible if I, continue to just, draw or whatever, much lower rated players. So, it is what it is. Anyway, that's the game. I'm going to end with the review just to show you guys. This was not a good game by accuracy standards. Obviously, at the end, I'm completely winning. Again, I think I beat Stockfish. I was pretty happy, though, to give the draw to Jamie at that point. We both played about a 75% accuracy. This is quite low for both me. And I think in our other games, Jamie has played better than 75% as well. If you guys can see, obviously by the game recap, I had a chance to play e4 and just totally blow the game open. I kind of bungled it up. Jamie had a nice attack. I equalized if I'd found, better moves in the endgame. Totally blundered. Jamie did miss a mate. I did point that out in game that there was a mate. And then a whole bunch of moves where I'm definitely losing, playing for a blunder. Jamie blunders, and I agree to a draw. So, kind of a wild one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the recap. Jamie, what a game. Interesting game, to be honest. A fair number of tactics, but mostly for, kind of what went on in it. Let's hope that the next time we play, I'll finally get to play black against Jamie, number one. And number two, hopefully we don't get into a situation like this, because it's not, like, ideally what you want. It's funny, in the aftermath, we described it to Ben as the gentleman's draw. And he was like, oh, so you guys drew, on, like, move 7. We were both like, far from it, my friend, far from it. All right, so that'll be it for me. I will post this one. Hopefully I feel better. This is the Spring Festival this weekend, so I'm going to be playing a lot of chess this month. After only playing 4 games total in February, I've played a lot more in March. All right, take care.